This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Ted Cruz was on Face the Nation this weekend. You know, it never ceases to amaze me how someone who claims to be a bold leader is such an obsequious freak for Donald Trump. Just bowing down in the face of a man who denigrated his own wife. No shame, no dignity, no integrity from Ted Cruz. Cancun Cruz. We get it. I mean, this is not news. But it is interesting for someone who is now half-ass floating themselves out there as a possible candidate in 2024. We'll get to that when she asks a question of him. But it is a remarkable thing that now leaders of the Republican Party are, their sole objective in life is to please Donald Trump, to stroke the weak ego of Donald Trump, and promote a lie that is damaging to our very democracy. Continuing the narrative that there was widespread voter fraud, that Donald Trump actually won the election. Now, they don't do it in those terms. They don't say it that boldly because they're cowards, but they want to have it both ways. They want to be able to please Donald Trump without actually saying that he won the election outright. And this is what happened during this interview. There's two clips I'm going to play. The first is asking directly about him talking to Donald Trump in the run-up to January 6th, having some role in it since he was one of the objectors during the certification process on January 6th. And he, rather than answer the question that is asked, diverts and answers a completely separate question. And it's just so obvious. It's just gross. Watch this.
Senator, just before the break, we were talking about the importance of standing up to some of the autocrats around the world. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the state of our own democracy. I know you have condemned the violence on January 6th, but in that book, Peril, Bob Woodward and Robert Costa reported detailed conversations you had with the president, Donald Trump, at that time on January 6th, and that you knew there was no congressional authority to overturn the election. Didn't indulging the doubters damage our democracy and our standing in the world?
Well, I haven't read that particular book, and I didn't happen to have any conversations with President Trump on January 6th. But
didn't you talk to him as they detail they detail a number of conversations you had in the book with the president?
I have no idea what that book
challenging
says.
The election.
I have no idea what that book says, but I did not have any conversations with him on January 6th. But I also know what the Constitution provides. I had many conversations with him in days and weeks and months leading up to January 6th. I talked to the president sometimes as often as once a week or once a day.
So the question that was asked, didn't indulging the doubters damage our democracy and standing in the world? Now, unintended alliteration aside, didn't indulging the doubters damage our democracy? It's a good question because it absolutely did. The U.S. was just placed on a list. I was reading an article this morning. I might even talk about it later. That the United States is a democracy in decline, a backsliding democracy, I believe is the word in the headline. That is a scary thing if you're an American, because we have been taught for generations that we are a bright and shining light for democracy, an example to the world. Now, I don't know how true it was even then, but it's certainly not true now. And Ted Cruz is part of the reason that is the case. He doesn't answer the question about indulging the doubters and damaging our democracy. Instead, he says, "Oh, I didn't read that book. And I didn't read it. I don't know what it says." Well, it says you talked to him. Well, I did not talk to Donald Trump on January 6th. No one said you talked to Donald Trump on January 6th. That wasn't the question. That wasn't suggested. You're trying to make the question something it's not, deflecting from the actual question that was asked. I didn't read the book. I didn't have a conversation with him on January 6th. Weak effort Ted Cruz week. Here's the next thing, where he goes on this rampage, peddling the myth of voter fraud, peddling the lie that people are, they're very concerned about voter security. When he's not acknowledging the fact that the reason people are concerned and believe that there's a problem with our elections is because of people like him, because of his golden god, Donald Trump, who is promulgating lies and conspiracy, sowing doubt in the minds of Americans, who then doubt the security, the veracity, the honesty, the legitimacy of our elections. My alarm's going off. This is dangerous for a sitting United States senator, someone with not just a modicum of power and influence, but a vote, one of 100 votes in the United States Senate, who is going out of his way to question the health of our democracy. Watch this moment.
Because we right now have a substantial chunk of our country that has real doubts about the integrity of the election. And if we had had a credible electoral commission do an emergency audit, it would have enhanced faith in democracy. But instead, Democrats and a lot of the press decided to just engage in incendiary rhetoric rather than acknowledge voter fraud is real. It is a problem.
Well, do you have
and the allegations of voter fraud needed to be examined on the merits?
Okay, Senator, there is no evidence of fraud that would have really drawn the outcome of the election into doubt. You know that. I want to ask you about 2024 and a race.
Voter fraud has been persistent from the very first election.
Are you going to run for president in 2024? Would you challenge President Trump, or are you endorsing him?
Look, I have no idea what's going to happen in 2024. Donald Trump is going to have to make a choice, first of all, whether he's going to run or not. I think if he chose to run, he would be very, very formidable. I can tell you that when I ran in 2016, we came incredibly close. I came in second. There's a long history of runner-ups becoming the next nominee, and it was the most fun I've ever had in my life. But there's a lot of time between now and 2024. My focus right now is 2022, because I think next November is going to be a wave election, an awful lot like 2010 was. I think Republicans are going to retake the House, they're going to retake the Senate, and I am spending my time recruiting candidates, supporting candidates, and working to retire both Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
So he's blaming the media, the press, for engaging in incendiary rhetoric, is what he says, and not admitting that voter fraud is a problem, when every study, every bit of research on the matter indicates that it is not a problem, that there are scant number of cases. And for voter fraud to impact the results of an election, it would take a widespread effort. And that is not the case. It is a lie to say so. And so, listen, I don't know what Face the Nation is thinking or doing, even having Ted Cruz on, when you know the outcome is going to be lies. We can go back and say the same thing for having Kellyanne Conway on during the Trump presidency, when all you're going to get is alternative facts. The media needs to do a better job. We all need to do a better job going into 2022, because as he says, he's looking for a clean sweep. And what is going to happen when we have Republicans in charge of the House, Republicans in control of the Senate? One, absolute gridlock. Nothing will be accomplished for you, the American people, for me. But what will be accomplished, aside from gridlock and regressive policy, is authoritarianism, is Republican-controlled, an absolute standstill of progress, a concerted effort at the highest levels of government to entrench this lie that voter fraud happens. They're going to efforts to pass voter suppression bills all across the country, legitimizing that particular worldview. That is why it is so important for you to be involved in politics this year. If you've never volunteered, if you've never knocked on doors, this is your year. More important now than ever. It gets said too much, I think. More important now. This is the most important election. This very well could be. If Ted Cruz is feeling confident and he is blasting that out into the ether, you should be concerned. I know I am. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore, everywhere that there's social media. And if you get some value out of what I do, listen, if there's somebody else out there on the platform who gives you more value, who does more for you, who whatever, then support that person. It is important right now with the media landscape we have to support independent creators and commentators and people who analyze the headlines. If I'm not that guy for you, find somebody out there who is and support that person. But if I am your flavor, consider supporting my work. You can do so by clicking the join button below this video, becoming a channel member for $1.99 a month, or you can head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Both those are fantastic ways to help support this operation, help it grow, help us reach new listeners, and really evolve into the product that I want it to be. Anyway, I love you guys. I will see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.